We're not politically correct, we just have common sense.
Unscripted, unfiltered, unfaltering. Show of Support's Hunt for Heroes offers tributes and true stories of remarkable courage.
If these terrorists could come in your bedroom, they'd kill you, your wife, and your kids. And that's what these men are fighting to protect us from, these murdering idiots. And they're taking them out so that we don't have to deal with them over here.
Show of Support started it all just after the shock and awe bound a nation together. Now, years of footage portraying wounded veterans, deer stands, and standing ovations. Hunt for Heroes, that started as one man's way to say thanks, is now a series that many say is way overdue.
I ain't never felt like that before, and I want to feel that again.
It's just a raw emotion.
They left us being loved and being honored for the heroes that they are.
We still have 40,000 injured troops.
If you threaten our people and our way of life, we will find you wherever you may be hiding, in the place you feel most safe, and we'll kill you in your own bedroom. Thank you for being a country worth fighting for. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
It's going to take a while to get around to all of them, but there's no quitting. It'll never stop as long as I'm breathing.
Show of Support Hunt for Heroes is made possible through a partnership with Pioneer Natural Resources, Boss Blinds, Caltech, Tico Field Service, Double J Ranches, CBT Charities, and Christmas for our troops.
You get here to the ranch and it's about an hour and I guess 20 minutes from when you land, and God, it's just a beautiful place. You know, it's what you expect of Texas Hill Country. This is it. You know, it's the pinnacle of, you know, God, I'd love to live here.
That says a lot for a man who lives in Colorado. Army Master Sergeant Brady Fowler has never hunted in the Texas Hill Country before. He calls himself one of the older guys in the military. They barely get settled into the blind when movement catches Terry's eye, and it's movement very close to the ground. This gray fox seems quite at ease as he searches for food on this warm winter afternoon. Brady falls in love with the silver fur and black-tipped tail. So Terry gives him the green light to take this what seems like an easy shot on a predator. Both Terry and Brady are both in disbelief over the miss. Nobody has an explanation for that one. The rifle is 2 inches high at 100 yards, and that shot was hardly 60 yards. Amazingly, the fox returns, or at best, as anybody can tell, is the same fox. He does approach the same spot where Brady plowed around through the dirt. With a little sun left, they figure they've pretty much ruined the deer hunting for the rest of the afternoon. So they're just going to wait for the fox to work his way closer to the blind. Something does get the fox's attention, and it's a white-tailed buck who has recovered from the earlier gunshot. This wide young 8-pointer doesn't seem to mind the company though, and Terry and Brady decide to wait it out.
Look how close they are. They're just nose to nose.
If it were a bobcat or a coyote, Terry doesn't think a whitetail would tolerate such intrusion. With daylight fading, it doesn't appear that the fox is going to get any closer. So Brady slips the safety on to fire for one more shot at this gray fox.
You can't be serious.
You shoot 100?
shock and disbelief. Brady Fowler is a better shot than that, but it's proof it can happen to the best of them. Terry insists that they search for any sign of a hit, and all they come up with is a short scratch in the soil. Not the way anyone would want to start a hunting trip, having their nerves all twisted before a deer hunt. But tomorrow, the target and kill zone will be much larger, and they'll leave the foxes alone as Show of Support Hunt for Heroes continues. This portion of Show of Support Hunt for Heroes is made possible through a partnership with Pioneer Natural Resources. A blanket of snow falls upon the Texas hill country. With it comes an afternoon of cold air and a cushion of quiet. Only thing is down here, when it snows, it can melt within hours.
You know, you read the whitetail magazines. You know, being from Colorado, we just don't have the whitetail. And so, you know, you read, and I guess I really didn't know what to expect coming down here. I really didn't have any clue.
Terry Johnson leads Brady Fowler out to the blind for an afternoon hunt, hopefully to make up for the day before when a gray fox gave Brady 2 chances, but escaped unscathed. Terry knows Brady's nerves are on edge, but he's hoping the sight of a big whitetail buck will take his mind off the day before.
I enlisted in 1991. And the reason I enlisted really was, you know, I came from a really small town, one high school, you know, so the military was my way to get out of that town. You know, I wanted out, and it was a way to get away. I was injured by, a series of 122 millimeter mortars, rocket assisted, and I wasn't even really doing my job. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and just, you know, it's kind of a freak deal. These guys that we had hired to actually do some work for us kind of turned on us, and in a week after we kind of fired them in country, they turned on us and ended up getting us pretty good. So at any rate, I had a mortar, a big one, land within about probably 15 meters of my position. So I've got 7 lesions on the left side of my brain. The shockwave went through my brain and gave me I've got a traumatic brain aneurysm that's basically inoperable. So I don't suffer, but I have seizures, and I've got some eye issues, and I've got hearing issues, and I'm very fortunate because I can still get out here in the woods and walk around, and I can do hunting, and I live a good life. But yeah, there's some things that hold me back a little bit. You know, that by and large, I'm very, very fortunate compared to some of the guys that I've been around and some of the guys I've served with.
There's something about the snow and the quiet that can make your mind wander. Moments relived, memories reborn. But the sight of a huge whitetail buck can take your mind off of everything.
An hour before sundown, Terry said, "Hey, keep your eyes peeled because we'll start seeing him." And he was a nice 8-point. He was, not completely typical, but it was a really quality buck. I told Terry, I said, "Hey, I want to take him."
Somebody once said, a good hunt doesn't have to be a long hunt. This basket rack buck makes his way across the snow-covered pasture. Brady's heart rate accelerates as he and Terry watch the buck. Then, for some unexplained reason, the buck spooks and heads for the brush. That's enough to make it hard for you to get to sleep, but darkness has gotten the best of this deer hunt. But they'll be back in the morning as Show of Support Hunt for Heroes continues. Closed captioning for Show of Support Hunt for Heroes is made possible through a partnership with Boss Blinds.
Because it was probably 20 degrees that morning. I mean, it's cold for down here. Even for Colorado, where I'm from, it was cold. And we get to the blind, get in there nice and quiet, and as soon as we get any daylight at all, figure out it's just covered in bucks. I mean, there's bucks everywhere. So many that really, you know, in the darkness, I couldn't count them. I couldn't figure out how many were really out there.
In the dim daylight, Terry Johnson and Brady Fowler watched two bucks in a shoving match. It's past the rut, but the cold air that's brought the snow in yesterday seems to have reignited the urge to separate the men from the boys.
So as soon as the sun came up, I started to figure out that some of the bucks that I had seen present that night before were there that morning.
Oh, look at this 8-point coming in. Look to the right. What's coming in? Where'd he come from? Look at that.
I think he kind of was happy because he said, that's the one that I would take too.
Terry's right. In the Texas Hill Country, there's not many 8-pointers like this one. They watch, hoping for more daylight, as this buck makes his way into a live oak thicket. As the buck leaves the live oaks, Brady waits for a broadside shot in clear background. With so many acres on the ground, they could be here for a while.
As soon as he said, hey, it's a clear shot, that's the one that if you want him, you take him.
Oh, where you go?
I took my shot and I think he may have went 15 feet and he went to church. He was done. So it was nice, you know, because I got to see him just, you know, go right down, and that's the way it should be in my book.
There's nothing Terry Johnson likes more than walking with one of his American heroes to recover their first whitetail buck. This rocky ground with its rolling, broken landscape, good for the spirit, good for the soul, and a great background for showing gratitude to another American fighting man like Brady Fowler.
He's awesome. Right. Means to me is the world, you know, because this is just a huge honor that he bestows upon guys. And what it means to me also is that he had the courage to keep this program going when he could have folded it up and said, times are tough, and you know, that horrific accident really put a hole in his heart, and he could have walked away from this and nobody would have said, hey, you're a coward for doing that. Everybody would have said, oh, we understand. But instead he said, I can't do that to these guys.
Brady has pushed back a lot of memories and hopefully replaces some with the thrill of such an incredible whitetail buck. It truly is a morning he will never forget.
It's kind of, you know, it's a step in, you know, this hunting adventure that I'm kind of on right now, you know, and continuing on. So this is, yeah, definitely a stepping stone of, you know, something that I wanted to achieve, I guess.
This portion of Show of Support Hunt for Heroes is made possible through a partnership with Pioneer Natural Resources. For the last few days, Brady Fowler has been taken to his hunting lowest lows and highest highs. He has one more afternoon in the Texas Hill Country, and Terry sends him to sit in a glorified giant tree stump.
I never seen a blind like it. It's a foam tree trunk, and it's got, you know, probably 24-inch portals that are, I don't know, maybe 8 inches wide, and you slide these magnetic windows up, and the portals go almost down to the floor, you know, so there's nowhere to rest a gun. I'm sitting there trying to figure out if animals show up, what the heck am I ever gonna do with this thing?
Brady feels like maybe Terry sent him to the timeout blind, all the way on the other end of the ranch where they've been seeing all the bucks. Brady has his heart set on an axis buck, something that has spread across the Texas hill country over the last few decades.
Something didn't feel right. It didn't feel crittery. It didn't feel like anything was gonna happen.
Brady's skepticism is cut short when he spots something moving past the live oaks. It's a mature black buck antelope.
I would have sworn that he was, you know, 50 inches tall when, you know, a trophy's 21, but he was just massive. He just looked as cool as he could be. And he just kept on, you know, just kept on cruising. He didn't even stop to water. He didn't stop to eat. He didn't stop for anything. He meant business. He just kept on walking by, so I got to at least see him for a minute. It's my first one.
While concentrating on the black buck, Brady fails to notice the whitetail and axis buck feeding on his left. Brady locks in on the axis buck in front, but the background is a little crowded.
I mean, just talking about it right now, I can feel myself getting excited because, you know, it was just these two long horns coming up, and there he was. I mean, and to me, he's a god, you know, he was just huge, big puffy chest. He was so proud of himself. He's the only one there that had horns, so he was the ruler. He walked right up and started, you know, knocking everybody out of the way. It was just even kind of hard to even tell what was going on. And my heart was racing and I was getting excited. I mean, this was my first taste of access. All I could see was spots and I got buck fever. You know, I was just so excited I couldn't even think. But, I mean, there was no way I could get a shot on him, not get a good shot, and not feel that I would endanger another animal and do things ethically.
Before Brady could get a shot, the axis buck disappears. Now all he can do is keep his eyes on the group of whitetails and lesser axis deer, hoping his buck will return.
I thought, I'm probably done. You know, this will probably be it. I'm probably not going to get a hold of this guy because he's going to, where that they are, he had a good round out. And if he was going to round out on this little mesa, he'd been gone, and there's no way I could have got into him. It's getting really scarce, or at least it seems like it to me. I don't want to exaggerate it too much, but it seems like the sun is going down, and I go, man, I'm probably cooked tonight. But I got to keep a good open mind.
Moments later, Brady spots his buck coming back into view. Only thing is, he's going to have to wait for a clear shot, and daylight's starting to fade.
Got into position, and I sat there, and I held the position, and I held until I was, you know, shaking. All of them headed for water all of a sudden, and things started kind of just settling down, and he kind of calmed down. He stopped, you know, butting everybody, and he gave me a shot, and that was it. Oh, shoot, man. Oh, that took forever, didn't it? Oh, God. Man. So I knew that, you know, that was done deal. So that was, you know, as cool as a whitetail the night before. So, Yeah, it's unbelievable. Sometimes I think this ain't real. I gotta pinch myself. Pretty freaking cool.
As daylight fades on Brady Fowler's trip to Texas, he plays back in his mind the best hunt inside a live oak thicket in the Texas Hill Country. An American hero accepts a show of gratitude he never could have imagined. But Brady has gone through so much that few of us could ever imagine. Like we've said so many times, this is hunting's finest